You've now given yourself a voice saying, I have more value than what my job is paying me. So I got to have the vision necessary and give myself a voice loud enough to overcome the violent opposition that people are going to give me as a result of me pursuing my goals and dreams. The first thing I want you guys to do as it relates to money is you got to be vulnerable. You got to be vulnerable. See, when I was broke, I told this on a previous letter, I had $19 in savings and like $11 in checking, and I needed $20. So listen, I want y'all to hear this now. I got $30 to my name, 19 plus 11. I got 30, but I need some gas to get back to Atlanta. I was out of town. I need to pull 20, but it's split between two accounts, $19 in savings, $11 in checking. I can't get $20. That's the day my life changed. And I said, you know what? Never again. In fact, let me tell you what I did. I printed the ATM little receipt that shows you your balance in both of them. Because y'all know how it is. Maybe I got a little bit in savings. Maybe I got a little bit in checking. Pulled them both out. I kept them. I didn't get mad. I didn't get upset. I kept both printouts. And I said, never again. And at that point, I became vulnerable. And I also became victorious at the same time. Let me tell you why. Because I didn't get mad, because I didn't get upset, because I didn't hate on myself and get disappointed. I had the vision to see that this current state of affairs was something I needed to take pride in. I took those receipts and I was vulnerable enough to go ask for help. That's why today I stand victorious. See, the victory was mine. Why? Because I was vulnerable enough for 2 or 3 years to go under some people's wings and say, man, teach me this money game. I was vulnerable enough for 2 or 3 years to say, you know what? My job, I'm thankful, but I'm not satisfied. I was vulnerable enough to say, man, it must be something I don't know about this money game because I got a Morehouse degree. I graduated in 4 years. I finished high school. I'm broke. So I was vulnerable enough to say that this current state of affairs is just temporary and I'm going to be victorious. So let me go ahead and take these pictures of these receipts so I can say to myself, never again. The reason a lot of you guys aren't making the money you want to make is because you're not vulnerable. I got friends who do this. They still look like they got it going on. They still like to floss and fake and front in front of everybody. But the real deal is they're hurting. They got a lot of debt. I got a lot of associates like this. They got a lot of debt. They're hurting. Their marriage is falling apart because the real deal is they're a public success, but they're a private failure. So guess what? Because you aren't vulnerable enough to let the veil down, the universe don't even know how to reward you because it looks like you got it going on. How in the world will you ever become victorious if you keep trying to fake and front and floss? And instead of just accepting some brief vulnerability to show the universe that you need some help, that'll give you the humility you need and your ego will come down and you'll start asking the right questions. And guess what? The right answers will come to you from the right people. Now, a lot of people don't like to hear that part. You know what I'm saying? That it begins with you. In fact, if you tell some people that success begins with you dropping your ego and success begins with you becoming vulnerable, they'll get violent. It's called violent opposition. Violent opposition is what we call stage 2, right? There are 3 levels of resilience. Violent opposition is what we call stage 2. First, when you tell somebody you want to do something like make some money, like you get vulnerable. You tell people, hey, you know what? I'm in a bad situation. I'm not in a bad situation, or maybe I want to be in a better situation. So you're going to become vulnerable. The first thing they do what's called ridicule. Oh, really? And what makes you think this? You can tell by their words, they're starting to ridicule your dreams. They're starting to, criticize. It's just slight ridicule. It's just little jabs. When I started my home-based business and told everybody, look, I'm vulnerable, man. My college degree ain't working. I'm open right now to opportunities. Oh, really? So you're going to start working from home, huh? See, that's called ridicule. That's stage 1. So get ready when you become vulnerable to get ridiculed. It's okay. It's okay because they don't have the vision that you have to see that where you're going is going to be totally different than where you are. So they start jabbing me. Home-based business, huh? Brian, you're going to be a millionaire, huh? People still ridicule me to this day. You retired when you was 22, huh? I'm talking about colleagues, friends, and associates who know that I retired 25 years ago when I was 22 years old. When they tell the story, it still has some ridicule in it. You can tell that's always the beginning. A little laughter. Then when people see that they aren't knocking you off your game, when people see that you're staying true to your vision, when people see that their words and their voice doesn't matter to you, what's coming out of their mouth has no bearing because you will be victorious. When they see that your vision and voice are in alignment and theirs falls on deaf ears, they become violent. And I don't mean violent from a standpoint where they hit you and poke you and touch you and knock you out and cut your throat and hit your head and, beat you up. What I mean by that is they step up the ridicule to another level. Spouses in particular, I've seen men do this to their wives. I've seen wives do this to their husbands. Oh, really? So you on another one of them meetings? Oh, you on a webinar again and we ain't got dinner fixed. Oh, you going to another one of them things with them people you hang out with. See, now the ridicule didn't work, so the violence kicks in. Well, you know what? I just don't know if it's worth this relationship. See, they don't have the same goals and vision as you do. They don't like the fact that you're becoming more vulnerable. They don't like the fact that your vision is expanding. They don't like the fact that you've given yourself a voice, so they become violent. Not physically, but they step the game up a little bit. Well, I don't know. Maybe we should question the nature of this relationship. If that business of yours and these goals and dreams you have are more valuable than what we're trying to build together. Well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I thought the definition of marriage was for two people to go on a journey spiritually, mentally, emotionally, socially, and physically as one. I'm not married. There's just a little definition I made up real quick. But I thought the definition of marriage was for us two individuals to decide to go through this journey of life together as one. So if I have the vision and I'm giving a voice of reason to our finances, why are you getting so violent? Maybe it's because a lot of people, I ain't even gonna say it, but maybe they took those vows in vain. I mean, I just had to get that in because it was V's, right? I mean, vows, vain. It don't mean they did it, but it sounded smooth at the time because that's what I'm doing right now is going off the top of my head. So maybe when they took those vows, it was in vain. Did they really mean it? I'm talking to people in relationships too. I'm not giving you relationship advice. I'm just saying if a person is violently opposing your goals and dreams, that speaks volumes to how they really feel about you. That speaks volumes. So I just knew at an early age I wasn't going to let nobody destroy my goals and dreams because my vision and voice finally were in alignment. My vision and voice got in alignment and I couldn't let nothing stop me once the train got started. So people will start to violently oppose you if the ridicule they're giving you doesn't work when you become vulnerable. I mean, I thought V was going to be hard. V is easy. I mean, I'm doing it virtually via Instagram. I'm doing this virtually via Facebook. So how hard could it possibly be to use my voice on these little miniature TVs? That was a stretch, but TVs, V. Anyway, remember this, guys. Invest in things that have value. See, assets appreciate over time. Liabilities decrease over time. What you have to ask yourself is, when's the last time you made an investment in something that will increase in value? Here's the reality. Right now, your dollar is decreasing in value due to something known as inflation. If you don't have this point of view, I'm giving you a new view, a new way of looking at money. The dollar loses value every day. Not because of some guys in a smoke-filled room and some conspiracy theory. The dollar loses value every day because it's no longer backed by gold. It's really just currency. It's fiat. It's a sheet of paper that our belief and our belief alone gives it value. So in prison, they use stamps, right? Because stamps on the outside world cost 35 cents, 16 cents, or whatever a stamp costs these days. So a book of stamps in prison can be traded for cigarettes, can be traded for honey buns, can be traded for noodles and whatever. They came up with their own currency. That means whatever the people in the community decide has value and determine that this is what's valuable to us in here, then that's what it is. So in prison, it's stamps because out here in the free world, it costs nothing. But in there, you can send a whole a whole book of stamps, and a prisoner can live like a kingpin because society determines the value. Well, if society determines the value of the currency, the same thing is true for the dollar. It's no longer backed by gold. So technically, we could trade anything. You might exchange some in prison, they can exchange stamps for, some red velvet, some cake. Out here, if we wanted to, we could say, you know what, get rid of the dollar. We're going to cut up some velvet fabric, and we're going to trade that because it's not backed by anything. So what am I saying? In America, business owners control how much things cost. So the reason your dollar is losing value with serious velocity, like it's happening rapidly, it's not happening slowly. The dollar is losing value at a rapid rate of speed. The velocity on this inflation has increased so much that it's being called hyperinflation. So because of COVID, because of the quarantine, and because of uncertainty, business owners are forced to increase their prices overnight. So if less of us can connect, and less of us can see each other, and less of us can go to the game, and less of us can go to the restaurant, and less of us can go to the bar, and less of us can go to church, and less of us can travel, then a business owner has to say, you know what, we need more dollars off less people. Well, if you're making the same amount of money you made before the quarantine, and if this year you don't give yourself a pay raise, but the prices of everything else is sky high, then what do you think is going to happen to your dollar? You're going to buy less, but it's going to cost you more. So you've become a victim of the pandemic. Now you're a victim of circumstance. You can't make a decision on this. There's no vote. There's no, hey, can we vote on whether or not the dollar is going to increase in value? No, ain't no vote. Ain't no vote. You have no say-so in the matter. None at all. So what you need to do is find a vehicle, like a home-based business, that gives you your own voice, and you can do your own vote and overcome the velocity that this inflation, which is the value of your dollar dropping at a rapid speed, you can overcome that velocity just like that. But you need a vehicle. See, those of us in our organization, we talk about this vehicle every day. It's a home-based business. That's number one. We give ourselves an instant pay raise. So the home-based business allows our job, our W-2, to give us a pay raise because the IRS states that you can get your money up front if you have a home-based business as one of your vehicles. That's the most valuable tip I can ever give anybody, but most people won't do it because they've never been taught that. All you got to do is visit irs.gov, and it's written on the IRS website that you can get your money up front. So we teach to get your money up front, your paycheck will increase, then you use that money to pay off all your debt, and then now that you're out of debt, you got positive cash flow. Now we show other people how to do it, so we give ourselves a pay raise. Now your house or apartment became the vehicle to overcome this inflation. But in summary, be vulnerable enough to learn the value in these lessons that I'm teaching you. If your dollar is losing value at a rapid speed, and it's picking up some serious velocity, you may want to invest in a vehicle that you're already sitting on, known as your house or apartment, so you can start traveling the world, taking all the vacations. You've now given yourself a voice saying, I have more value than what my job is paying me, so I got to have the vision necessary and give myself a voice loud enough to overcome the violent opposition that people are going to give me as a result of me pursuing my goals and dreams.